here back on my nice journey and experience in going into the Army National Guard, and particularly currently in the OCS program. As it's been a while since my last video, but I just got back a couple of weeks ago. I'm still kind of recovering from Phase 1 of OCS. I just want to give you guys more of an update of how it was. I'm currently, it's unfortunate I got put into the traditional state OCS, which is the 2-week program for Phase 1 weekend a month for like the next 12 months for Phase 2, and then Phase 3 is going to be another 2 weeks next year. It just depends where, most likely Alabama, but it could possibly be changing. I really wanted to go the accelerated route, which the accelerated route would have been, I would have just stayed in Alabama for a total of 8 weeks, and I would have been done with it. However, due to the state that I'm in, due to the unit that I'm at, they declined it, they refused it. It is what it is. It's unfortunate. The only advice I can give you on this is, because I didn't know how this would have worked, but if you want to go the route that I'm currently in, make sure you put it in your contract that you want to go the accelerated route. That way, it's already on there. If you later want to change back to traditional, you can. So that's always an option. You can always also put in for the federal OCS in your contract if you like. That's also an option. So just be mindful about it. If it's not in your contract, the military, and then let alone the state that you're at, can do whatever they want with you. So it's unfortunate. I wasn't the only one though. There was a handful of us that wanted to stay there. We wanted to stay accelerated. However, the state of California in our unit did not allow us. So it is what it is. We just have to keep moving forward. But yes, I did come back really exhausted, tired, due to the sleep deprivation that they gave us. I didn't think it was going to affect me that much until I got back, and then obviously my body wasn't fully recovered. So that was one of the main things, and that's why it's taking me this long to make this video. So the way it works is, I did all my paperwork at pre-OCS or Phase 0, and I then later got my date to go for Phase 1, and our Phase 1 was held in Alabama. Like I said, it could always change depending on where those 2 weeks are going to be held at. So mine was held in Alabama. We got our flight tickets, we got everything ready to go, and there's quite a few. You're usually flying out of the airport that's closest to your house. There's a certain time frame, such as for us, we had to be at the airport in Alabama no later than 6 p.m. That way they could process us in and do all their paperwork there as well. And we ended up having a flight delay from our second flight. So we left from one airport, got to the second airport, and when we arrived there, we got to the gate, and then that's when there was a delay. Not sure what happened. Apparently they said there was something that they had to check with the aircraft, and ended up being like a 3-hour delay. So I didn't mind, it was whatever. From that flight, we ended up going to Alabama, and we showed up prior to 6 p.m., which was still perfect timing. However, we did not get picked up by around 7:30, 8 o'clock. We got picked up, and due to the time frame, we were already kind of running late anyways. And so the bus ended up dropping us off at this place called Buc-ee's. It was a great place. I was actually surprised on how big it was. It had multiple gas stations, huge store. It's kind of like a gas station slash little mini market. It was really big. It was I was really surprised on how many fountain drinks they had and how many flavors of ices they had, because it was something that I've never seen in the state of California for sure. But yeah, we ended up getting something small there for food, drinks, And from there, we were there for about 30 to 40 minutes. From there, we then got shipped to the base in Alabama, and they quickly did a quick process on us. We did height and weight. They did some processing of, everything that, any type of medical conditions, any allergies, stuff like that. Then they gave us a little speech of, what we may encounter there, such as any wildlife, any bugs, such as rattlesnakes, ticks, and all this other stuff. So they gave us all these warnings and stuff that we may encounter while we're out in the field, or also in the state of Alabama, such as also thunder, storms, rain, the humidity, the heat. Luckily, the 2 weeks that I was there, great weather. I had no issues. It did rain like twice, but overall it was nice. It didn't get too hot. The humidity wasn't as bad as a lot of people said it was going to be, so I'm so thankful for that. Then our paper also had our information that we had to put, such as our emergency contact. Then they also gave us our little paper showing us our platoon that we were going to be in, and then also our squad. And everyone is set up into their platoons. We have this huge barrack. It's three floors. The first floor is mainly for like instructors, and then like any type of medical issues that you may have. Second floor is for first platoon, second platoon. Third is for third and fourth platoon, and then in the middle of those platoons you will have, or barracks if you want to call it, you will have a washer dryer, and then right across from the washer dryers you will have a little study room. Most of the time that was utilized for people that ended up having some memorandums due to like falling out of runs, falling out of something, or failing something. And then it was also utilized at night for our leadership roles, such as our leaderships would meet there, come up with any type of paperwork that they had to file, any memorandums that they had to do, any issues that had to be brought up to the chain of command, and then also any type of scheduling that had to be forwarded on for the following day. And the washer dryers did kind of suck. You will have to kind of share, or you will be waiting for a long time. I do recommend you guys bringing like a laundry mesh, so that way you guys can share and your guys' clothes does not get mixed together. You guys can just grab your mesh bag, throw it in the dryer, you guys are good to go. Like I said, like first and second platoon had to share, third and fourth platoon had to share. So it's not like basic where you have a lot of washer and dryers and you're sharing with about 40 to 70 people. This one, we were sharing, we were approximately 75 people in total from first and second, and then obviously from third and fourth. And there's a total of like 6 washers, only like 4 of them worked. And then we had about 6 dryers and only about 5 of them worked. So do the math, it's going to take a while, let alone your sleep deprivation, because you're not really in the barracks that often until you're getting put down to sleep. You are able to or at least when I was there, you were able to wash and dry even while you were out and about. So if you had to, like during lunch or breakfast, lunch, and dinner, after you were done, if you had enough time, you go to the barracks, move your load into the washer, or move your load from the washer into the dryer. So you had that opportunity. So after that, we ended up going to after our paperwork was done, we ended up getting all our bags, our luggage. We took them to our barracks. So for me, I went to my barrack, and then we got split up because we were about a total of 20 when we first arrived. So about 20 of us were late, supposedly. Went to our barracks. We had to get our wall lockers displayed, and then we also had to do our beds. So you have to be mindful if you show up early, you still have to do it when you arrive, but you may have to do like leadership stuff, or you may have to do certain like paperwork that we didn't have to do, so it's kind of a good thing. but at the same time they were able to go to bed earlier than we were because we had to do a lot more stuff. Luckily we had some people that were able to help us out because they didn't mind, so that was a good thing. Make sure you're always helping each other out. That's always the key. But yeah, as I mentioned, my being sick also, my experience is going to be different than your experience. Your experience is probably going to be different than someone else's experience. So it just, determines, the time that you're there, the staff that's there, and who's in charge. But our barracks, we had a certain way, we had to display our lockers, our drawers, and then also a certain way we had to do our beds as well. And then also set up our shoes and boots under our beds. The following day, we got more acquaintance of how the process was going to be. It was really more of a relaxed day. And then day 1 or day 2, however you would like to see it, because we were there, we arrived Friday, and then by Sunday was when we got our whole entire wake up afternoon. We got our little, smoking, if you want to call it, or introduction or welcoming for about an hour. After that was done, they gave us a little introduction of who's in charge and the chain of command, and then they also gave us our who's the officers and the NCOs that were going to be in charge of that platoon. So every platoon has, or at least when I was there, every platoon had 2 captains, which are your officers, and then at least 1 NCO, which is, it could be a sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant first class, and so on. So you'll have that as well. And that was my time there. So I had 2 captains, and then I had a staff sergeant. Others had, 2 captains and sergeant first class or first sergeant as well. It just depends on, the availability and the staffing that they have. And, I was glad, the staff that I had, it was wonderful. They introduced themselves. They told us, their process, their time in the military, how they became officers. Same thing with the NCOs, their time on and, their ranking. And they tell you, this is what they look for. This is what they expect. This is what they want, to see from their platoon as, we, continue the process. And, it continues throughout the 2 weeks. You're getting your little correctable actions every day, at least for us, every day at 6 p.m. It was supposed to be 6 p.m., but it was right before dinner time. You will always get new leadership. So your big 3s are your CO, which is your company commander, your XO, which is your executive company commander, and then your first sergeant. And then within your platoon, you will also switch out platoon sergeant, platoon leaders, and then the 4 squad leaders for your squads. Most of the time, the only ones that are graded are going to be your big 3, your CO, XO, and first sergeant, and then also your platoon leader and platoon sergeant will be graded. Once in a while, randomly, your squad leader will be graded, but sometimes they're not. And what I mean graded is they'll give you at least like 5 tasks that you have to complete and complete satisfactory and not fail or anything like that. If you fail 3 things, you automatically get a fail. If you fail 2 or 1 or 2 things, you automatically get a pass. Most of the time for phase 1, it doesn't matter if you pass or fail. The majority of the time, everyone's going to fail at least phase 1. There is a handful of people that did pass, such as myself. I did pass. I was only selected as a platoon sergeant, so I was able to get a pass. But like I said, it doesn't matter because your leadership does not get graded and does not count until you hit phase 2 and phase 3. So that would, like I said, that would change out every time around 6 o'clock at night, which is right before dinner time. if you have first sergeant, honestly, I'm gonna let you know that's probably one of the worst ones to get, especially if you do not know cadences, because you're the one that's gonna be in charge of pretty much the whole entire company for the duration of the time, for the most part. You're the one that's gonna be marching everyone. You're the one that's gonna be doing all the cadences. So first sergeant is always not the best one. If I ended up getting it, it is what it is. But you know, if you get it, sometimes it's horrible. Then you will go through classes throughout the time there. Like the first time you'll get there, the first couple of days, you'll do some lectures on through a PowerPoint. It's pretty much a death by PowerPoint. Your first one is leadership. Then you will take an exam on leadership as well. It's multiple guests, so you're okay. It's fairly easy. Everyone got 100% go on the first time. After that, you will go through a couple of days of land navigation training, and then you will be out in the field for at least 3 to 4 days doing land navigation, and you'll be doing it, you know, through actual land navigation, and then also coursework out there while you're doing it. While you're out there as well, they will throw in medical stuff, so you will have to do some medical, you know, training out there. It's not that difficult for that. They'll just, you know, there's basic medical stuff that they teach you, pretty much as a basic training. And you know, the 3 to 4 days that you're out there, like I said, you're pretty much doing a lot of land nav from night to day. So it's from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. Most of the time we started around 2:30 to 2:40. They will put a time on there, what time they drop you off at the starting point, and then you have to be back before that 5 hours is up. If not, you are considered a no-go. And you get your points, and after you come back within, you know, those 5 hours, you got to make sure you get at least 4 or 5 points out of there. None of it matters until your actual test. They do, like, you know, your practice, then they do like diagnostic, what they call. Even the diagnostic does not count like it used to, apparently. I don't know what happened, but you know, it is what it is on that. Because you know, like I said, it doesn't matter until you get your testing. Because my first time I did it, I got 5 out of 5. The second time I did it, I got 4 out of 5. And then the following day, I did my testing, and I got a 3 out of 5, which is a no-go. And it was partially my fault, you know, for the most part. I was able to find a point. However, I second-guessed myself. That one I wasn't very confident in that point either. So when I ended up getting that point, I obviously got the second point wrong. So I ended up getting those 2 points wrong. I did get the other 3 right, but I ended up failing. And it was a huge delay. It ended up being kind of difficult for me also because we started later than 3 o'clock. I believe we started around 4 o'clock because we had thunder and storm going out alerts. Nothing really happened when we were there because they said go back to bed. So we couldn't go out. We couldn't go out. So that kept getting delayed until we knew the weather was going to be okay. And that, obviously, that's up to your chain of command, and it's fully understandable. The chain of command has to watch out for your safety if there's any thunder or storms, you know, going your way. But you know, it's partially my fault because you know I wasn't comfortable and confident in my ability in that one. But the reason is because the other ones that I got 5 out of 5 and 4 out of 5, I'm very comfortable and confident in my abilities in Dead Reckoning. And the best thing for me was I was trying to do it at night because yes, it's slightly harder, but for me it was easier because you were able to see your glow. Every point had a glow stick, so for me I was able to see my glow stick within like 100 to close to 200 meters. As long as I had like a straight ahead, I was like, there's my point. I just had to make sure that I still continue my path and my pace count. And once I got there, I knew I was pretty close. Obviously, once daylight shows up, you can no longer see the glow stick. So if you're within 20 meters, now you have to kind of look for your point. So it makes it kind of difficult. If you want me to shoot another video of land navigation and then the story of how night and day go over there, please shoot your comment down below. I'll gladly shoot another video on that. But that's a huge story on that portion, so I don't want to go too far in it. So that's a land navigation. You have to get 4 or 5 out of 5 to pass to continue. I got 3 out of 5, so I had to do it the following day. Following day I got 5 out of 5, and so I continued in the process of my OCS. We lost about close to 20 people due to land navigation, so it does take out a lot of people. After land navigation, we continue the class work. Like I said, death by PowerPoint, and this one had to do more with administration. Once again, there was another test on it. It was this one was fairly difficult in my opinion, but I still was able to pass it. I got 2 wrong, but pretty much everyone got a go except for 2 people. 2 people ended up failing it, and then 1 person actually failed the second retake, so they got recycled as well. And the recycle or the dismissal, it's up to your state if they're going to keep you for like the next class, or if they're going to dismiss you. So that that's a case-by-case basis. So I passed that. Then we continued, and as the days came, obviously the last 2 days were probably the more relaxing days, as obviously there's not much they can do because we're about to leave, and at least a majority of us are about to leave. There's a great portion of other people that were going to stay, and they had the accelerated process, so that was good for them. And so the last 2 days, it's kind of relaxing, just like the first 2 days for the most part. You do get a little more sleep, at least your last night. And then they cut you loose. You will go back to you'll gather all your belongings. Throughout your time there, we had I believe like 3 or 4 wall locker inspections. Throughout the time there, they will do inspections of your bunks, your shoes, so be mindful about that. They will mess up your bed if it's not done properly. They will throw your boots, shoes anywhere. Sometimes they'll put it in a pile if they're not done properly. So just be mindful about that. That also depends on your staff, your tax staff that's in charge of you, your cadre. Because sometimes they'll tie them up, they'll throw them in a pile. They can do whatever they like, and then you later on have to fix that. But yeah, we had about 3 or 4 wall locker inspections throughout the time there. They will have you mess up your bed pretty much every night when you're getting put to bed. That way, they know that you're going under the covers and you're gonna have to redo your bed. It's not like basic how it was, where get out of here, have a nice day. And yeah, the last day, obviously you're packing. They're okay with all your stuff and your luggage being out. Just make sure it's like secured and locked up, and then from then on you'll get breakfast depending on what time your shuttle or if you're POVing or your airport, depending on what time it is. Most of the time you'll have breakfast, and then you'll be set to go on the bus. Or if you're gonna be there longer, you'll have your lunch. Same thing. They'll release you from there. If you're staying there, obviously you're going to stay there, and later on they will have you rearrange your stuff for people that are coming there for phase 2, and then later on phase 3. And yeah, that was pretty much it. We got shuttled to the airport. The airport then flew us back home, and now it's just waiting for phase 2. And that's pretty much it. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, anything you want me to go further in depth, feel free to drop your comment down below. But other than that, it was a fun experience. I enjoyed it. The sleep deprivation wasn't bad. For me, the thing that really killed me was the death by PowerPoint. hated that. But yeah, I didn't realize that sleep deprivation was gonna really affect me when I got back home, because yeah, I was really exhausted. It took me about 3 days to actually finally recover from the sleep deprivation, and I thought I was fine, but I guess I wasn't. But yeah, guys, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.